All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol TRCH, Torchlight Energy Resources Inc. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we dive into this chart, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that I have a ticker symbol you definitely want to watch going into this week, and you want to pay close attention to how this ticker symbol is going to move, because it's a very speculative one, but you definitely want to keep it on your radar. We're going to look at its chart and all the reasons why you definitely want to keep this one closely in your watch list, in your radar, to see what's going on and how it's going to move going into the week. And if you're a first-time investor or learning investor, this is definitely a great learning experience to watch how this stock behaves, because it's a very speculative one, especially if you aren't long on this one or a true bull in the sense of trying to hold a long position on this. Then it's definitely something you definitely want to watch briefly, learn from, and see how it behaves. So definitely stay tuned for more information on that one. So here we are, Torchlight Energy Resources Inc. We have Torchlight having consolidations and running up, slight pullback, right, to a bottom here of around 220, 222, and ran up to over 380 almost, give or take, plus or minus, and then it landed right back to 334 right now. So this stock is in that upward trend, pullbacks, consolidation, runs up, pullbacks, and ran up again. So what's going to happen going into this week? We need to watch it carefully, but it continued to run after market hours. So it closed at 4 p.m. at 285, and it went up almost a whole nother dollar at the point of the highest peak, right there at 380, pulled right back down to 334. And we want to pay close attention on how this reacts as the market opens tomorrow. If it consolidates, pulls back slightly, or are the bulls going to continue to run with the momentum? So let's look at the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average is 254. As long as we're above it, we're in bullish territory. I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of that. Now, if we end up below it, we're in bearish territory. Now, the support level closest to the 50-day moving average and the lowest point before this continued to run was right here at this point, and that is 267. I want every single investor and viewer to write that down. 267. If it gets crossed, there's a very small window between 267 and 254 being the 50-day moving average. So you want to see if the bulls try to reappear and bring it back up, or are the bears tearing this one down fairly fast? I do want every single investor to be aware of that. Now, to have a midway point between the resistance and where the stock currently sits, if you want to go ahead and use it, this is completely optional. I would dissect the chart a little bit more. It is 304. It kind of gives you a midway point between the resistance that we're about to talk about and the support level, and see how this is reacting within this higher upper section of bullish territory before it continues to pull down fairly fast. You want to see if the bulls try to reappear before even going any lower, or are the bears dominating this one and taking it closer to the 50-day moving average? Because even though all of this is bullish territory, the bears could be in a very subtle way pulling this one downwards. Now, we talked about the peak, and that is the most important point right now for the bulls. And they definitely want to break through it. That is 380. The bulls need to turn that into a support so they continue to pull upwards and reach newer highs, pull further away from the 50-day moving average, and continue this momentum that they've created from this long consolidation period here of almost a whole entire month, right? It was about 2 weeks towards the end of January and like the first 2 weeks of February. So very important. I mean, it's been running over the course of the last couple of months and working its way up to newer highs in a very steady fashion with volatility. But we need to watch this one carefully, see if some consolidation starts, or does this pull back pretty quickly and land right back around this area. And then we have to see if that type of consolidation starts again until the next catalyst, or could the bulls hold this up, right? Generally speaking, all the investors that are long on this one, holding it up and stopping it from going anywhere lower, even though the 50-day moving average will catch up to the price over time. But if the bulls can consolidate or pull back a little bit in a healthy fashion and then consolidate above these points from down here where they started before this run, it could then be a healthy sign before the next catalyst. So some things to watch and see how this plays out. But this week is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be very important to see how this starts off the week. But I do want to emphasize 380 definitely needs to be broken through by the bulls, regardless of when it is, if it's in the next coming days or weeks. That is the most important point in the whole entire chart right now, based off of the last whole entire year, right? And even longer, that the bulls need a breakthrough to reach newer highs and new resistance levels. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Stay tuned till the end, because I do have a ticker symbol you won't want to miss, and it's very speculative, but you want to keep it on your radar going into this week. Stay tuned. So for everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, the ticker symbol that I'm about to share with you guys is Genius Brands International Inc., GNUS. So this one had a run towards the end of January, and the beginning of February it fell, and the lowest point that it reached was down here around the 170 mark, brought itself back up to 220, and it's kind of sitting in the middle. So we want to see if it pulls back just a slight more, or continues to consolidate before the next catalyst, or will it start to run up? So going into this week on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, you definitely want to have this on your radar and watch this. Keep a close eye on it. Volume has been pretty low, so the first indicator to let us know that there's potential or momentum here is knowing the volume, and then watching the inflow versus the outflow, or the outflow versus the inflow, to understand where the volume is being allocated, because right now volume is low. If there's a spike in volume, we want to watch if it's going downwards. Well, that means there's more outflow, and if it starts going upwards and having a catalyst and momentum, a lot more inflow. So this definitely is an opportunity to learn how charts move and how certain ticker symbols move according to volume and what's going on with investor sentiment, which then reflects in the graph. So if you don't know much about this company, this is definitely more of a learning experience for investors. But if you have played this one before, or you understand it, this is definitely an opportunity to keep a close eye on this one and keep it on your watch list for Tuesday going into Wednesday starting this week, and seeing where the momentum drives this one, because volume has died down a bit, and the average volume in the last 10 days was about 72 million. So we want to see if there's a spike in volume, because if it starts going upwards this week, we could start to see this move upwards as well, as long as the inflow is beating the outflow. So there's so much to analyze and see your different indicators, what they're showing as the day starts. But this is definitely one you want to watch. Very speculative. Now, long term, there's opportunity here, but you have to understand the business platform and more about this stock and do more research. But I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that this is an opportunity to learn, or definitely one to have on your watch list as the week starts. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and let's make some money.